I want to talk a little bit more about that sexual assault case at Stanford, the one in which the assailant only got a 6-month sentence. If you somehow missed this all, here's the Cliff Notes version. Brock Turner, now 20, was recently found guilty of 3 felony sexual assault counts related to an attack on an unconscious woman that happened a little over a year ago. Again, a jury found this man guilty, but he could have been sentenced up to 14 years behind bars. Instead, prosecutors recommended 6 years, a probation officer recommended 6 months, and the judge went with that. 6 months, or more likely 3, in county jail. Full disclosure, I am outraged about this, as are many others, some in fact urging the judge in the case be recalled. But here tonight is someone who's coming from a very different place in all this. Maria Lopez was that judge back in 2000. You'll remember when she sentenced Charles Ebony Horton to a year of house arrest and 5 years probation after Horton pled guilty, kidnapping, assault with intent to rape, and other charges. The victim there was an 11-year-old boy. Maria Lopez joins me now. Judge Lopez, it's a pleasure to meet you. So are people like me
I wouldn't call Charles Ebony Horton. It should be Ebony Horton.
Okay, Ebony Horton.
It is a woman.
It's transgender.
Okay, yes. So.
Are people like me who are appalled with the judge's, again, 3-month sentence for the rape of an unconscious woman? Are we being unfair to this judge?
She wasn't raped. The conviction was for a sexual assault.
Well, she was penetrated too. To me, that's rape.
No, under California law, that is not rape.
Sexually assaulted while unconscious.
Sexually assaulted, 3 felony
I'm appalled,
convictions.
whatever it's called, by essentially a de facto 3 months jail.
I think it's a terrible, terrible scenario.
Why?
Because I think she suffered. I mean, I'm familiar with the impact statement that was read on CNN
from the survivor.
And I mean, it's a horrendous experience she went through. But I happen to believe that the sentence is very reasonable because we over-incarcerate to begin with.
I agree with that.
Okay, so and I'd like anybody to do 6 months in prison and see what they think about the experience.
And 6 months for a sexual assaulter of an unconscious woman
committed by a 19-year-old.
Is over-sentencing?
It is committed by a 19-year-old inebriated college student. Yeah. Okay, he was also inebriated.
Yeah.
Okay, the issues about boys.
No one forced them to get drunk.
I raised 2 boys. Well, no one forces anybody to get drunk, right? Should there be some responsibility about that?
On her part?
On everybody's part.
Wait a second. Are you suggesting, because she was drunk, and she admitted, she didn't say she was drunk, she admitted she had 3 or 4 shots in one drink, some watermelon drink. You're saying she has part responsibility for what happened to her?
She said she was unconscious.
She was unconscious.
Okay. The issue is not whether she drank or he drank.
Well, you brought it up, not me.
His drinking actually is a mitigating factor, and it goes into any kind of criminal disposition. And we're talking sentencing here now, okay? We're not talking about anything else.
But the judge said in this case that if I were to sentence him to long-term in jail, to be, quote, a severe impact. Okay. Isn't that what society's looking for in this case, a severe impact on this guy?
There are 3 reasons for punishment, okay, that are authorized. One is, as you probably know, rehabilitation, and I was big on rehabilitation as a judge. Okay, the other ones are deterrence, specific deterrence, and general deterrence. And the other one is retribution. Okay, retribution is an unenlightened approach to sentencing. It is pre-enlightenment. Okay, it is about vindictiveness. And the kid is 19 years old, not fully matured. His frontal lobes were not fully matured. Okay, and I don't know if this case would get the attention it has gotten had it not been for the on-air personality that spent, her entire show, I think.
Ashley Banfield read the whole victim impact statement on their show.
Pausing at one point to cry. Okay, a victim impact statement is not evidence. Okay, the judge who imposed this sentence was familiar with nuances, was aware of the case. He sat through the trial.
But Judge Lopez, even if it's not evidence, what is part of the record is this young man's statement himself, the 19, now 20-year-old, virtually taking no responsibility. He's talking about the party culture. I'll never drink again, the evils of alcohol. He penetrated this unconscious woman, and he's going to be out of jail by the end of the summer.
Well, I'm not sure that the penetration is, in fact, what they found. They found a sexual assault. Okay, they found, in fact, that he was charged with rape, and then the prosecution dismissed it because there was no DNA evidence to prove a rape. And, you're talking about a 19-year-old kid. We should be, brain science is very important and should play a role in sentencing. And I don't know, I've had children when they were teenagers and 19, and they were alien beings. So I don't know, you can't judge them by the standards of a, mature, frontally mature
this
adult.
Judge, while he's been attacked by the public, you were attacked by a far broader spectrum of people. The DA's defending him there, not defending the sentence, but saying he shouldn't be removed from the bench. The public defender's defending him. When you're a judge, you were a judge for a while, and a pretty well-respected judge.
Yes,
I remember. How do you deal with that personally? I don't forget the professional thing and the hearing. I don't care about that for the moment. How do you deal with the assault, the 24/7, 360 assault on your integrity or whatever? What's that do to you?
Well, it's a witch hunt, and I actually blame the media for a lot of it. Okay? I don't think we'd have this witch hunt had that woman on CNN not read that statement.
I'm
and
talking
the same
about you,
thing
though.
happened to me.
Yeah.
Okay, it was taken off. It's dramatic. I mean, you know, the tape that was played over and over on Channel 5 and everywhere else.
I know. I saw it 100 times myself.
At a lying prosecutor. And in fact, the tape was manipulated. I did yell, and I deserved to yell, and lots of judges yell. But with the witch hunt that surrounds it, I think the media is doing a public disservice by not dealing with these criminal cases in a way that advances a better public understanding of our judicial system.
And I'm going to throw it back at the judges in the judicial system, because so many judges hide behind this BS that they can't make a statement about a pending case. And I've read the rules in the state, and as long as you comment within the bounds of what's already public, let a judge in a case like Officer Tarantino a couple of weeks ago, or Jared Remy, let them explain. If they believe that what they did is right, if you believe what you did is right, then explain to the public without crossing a line. Explain what we don't understand so that people like me and members of the public don't attack people like you and this judge in the West Coast.
Well, and I think that's an important thing that has to be pursued. But I guess maybe I don't know who to blame on who. Sorry, let me just think this out.
You can think it out all you want.
Okay.
Statements would help. You agree with me on that.
Statements
if judges understood that they were both allowed and in many ways encouraged to respond when the public is appalled, that's a good thing, right?
I totally agree, yes, that the judges, and they can do that, if it's an educational about procedures and how the system works.
Or explaining their decision, as long as they don't go outside the confines of what they did publicly. At least that's my reading of the rules.
Why is the public and the media looked at this judge and said, wow, look at the sentence he's imposed. Do you think that judge, who, by the way, has a background in being an advocate as a prosecutor, and later on in cases
including
of
some sexual assault, I know that.
Right, he is.
He's also was an athlete at Stanford, which he didn't disclose, which maybe he should have, since the defendant in the case was a star athlete at Stanford. No.
I don't think that's a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
Okay.
Can I broach one more thing with you that I've wanted to ask you on all the years that I've not met you? I am a huge advocate of cameras in the courtroom. I fought with Associate Justice, not fought, I debated with Associate Justice Breyer a few months ago about why they're not in federal courtrooms. It is safe to say you wouldn't have gotten in the mess you're in was there not a camera in that courtroom. Are you for or against cameras in the courtroom?
I guess I would have to say, at this point, I'm against them.
Why?
Because what it did is entitled the encouraged the district attorney, the assistant DA, to grandstand. That was part of what happened. Okay, I was telling him to sit down. I said it 3 times, and he didn't sit down. And I finally just, pointed my finger at his face and told him to sit down. And what's wrong with that?
You have 30 seconds. Give a closing thing. What's the moral of this whole story? From you to the West Coast to whatever. What's the fix?
This is a witch hunt, and that the public and the media should not jump on judges without knowing the nuances of what really happened in the courtroom.
Judge Lopez, it's very good to meet you. Thanks so much for being here. By the way, on a related note, we discussed WPI, that case last night. We invited the president of WPI to join us. She has declined.